Looking back and looking ahead, 2023 and 2024. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm sorry I didn't get a video up this week, but most of you know I had company all week. So I thought I'd sit down and make one today and go over 2023 and 2024. Now, this is not a downer video. This is an encouraging video, an inspiring video, and that's what I hope to offer you today. My regular viewers know that 2023 was a difficult year for me and had a lot of trauma in it. I had some traumatic things happen. I lost my precious ma in January of 2023. Number 2 days later, I broke my wrist. Well, I shattered my wrist, broke both bones on each side of the wrist. Number 3, in July, I lost my sister to cancer. And number 4, my sister's husband, Ken, my brother-in-law, ended up having a cardiac arrest and on life support in the hospital for 9 days. So it was kind of one thing after the other, back to back. Now that sounds like a pretty lousy year, wouldn't you say? But there is always an upside to everything. So I want to focus on the good things from 2023. Number 1, it was an honor and a privilege to take care of my ma and to be there for her and to have her all those years in my life, to be with her on her deathbed and in her final moments. Also, the broken wrist, I did not get surgery. Now maybe I should have, but I didn't. I chose not to. I got physical therapy, and I really have full use of this wrist now. Yes, it's sore now and then, and it may be a little weaker than my right wrist, but it works. So that was a blessing to me. And then there was my sister. Well, even though we lost her to cancer, I got to spend the last month living at her home and being with her 24/7, each and every day, taking care of her, giving her her medications, just being there for support and to love her through what she was going through. And that was a wonderful experience, one I would not trade for anything in the world. Again, it was an honor and a privilege. Another good thing that happened in 2023 was that my family came down more than usual. They come down a couple times a year anyhow and stay for a week, but they came down extra this year. And of course they came down when my sister was in her last days. And we were all together. We all got to surround her while she lay in the hospital bed in the main room of the house, the TV room. And we just got to spend quality time with her. And she kind of rallied and was able to talk to each one of them. That was such a joyful moment. Also, my brother, who lives in Pennsylvania, who I don't see very often, every few years, he came down during those final days of my sister's life, and I got to spend time with him. I just adore my brother. He is so much fun to be around. He's fun, he's funny, he's helpful. You can have great conversations with him. And I loved having that opportunity to spend time with him. Another wonderful thing that happened in 2023 was my only granddaughter, Austin, graduated from high school and went off to college. That was a big step for her, and I'm so proud of her. In fact, she got her grades about 2 weeks ago for the first semester, and she made the dean's list. Wow, these kids are so smart today, aren't they? Another wonderful thing from 2023 was getting to see my niece Mackenzie. That is my sister and brother-in-law's only child. She works for the State Department, for the embassy, so she always lives in another country for 3 or 4 year stints at a time, and then she'll come back to the States, to Washington, D.C., to be trained for her next post. Well, I got to see her 4 times this year, and she was in Jordan. That's where she was stationed last, when my sister was in her final days. So she flew from Jordan to here to be with her mother, and then a week later flew back from Jordan to be there again. Then she got to come to the States, to D.C., for the next, like 9 or 10 months to do training for her next post, which will be in Albania. So because she's in D.C. now, she got to come when her dad got very sick. She came here. She came back, I think like maybe 2 weeks later for a long weekend. She also came down at Thanksgiving with her husband and 2 little darling children. And she came for Christmas. In fact, she just left today. So I got to spend a lot of time with her. She's such a loving and dear girl. Well, I say girl, she's maybe 43 or 44, but she's a girl to me. And I just love the relationship that we have, and I feel very close to her. So that was a wonderful blessing. My mother's only living sibling, my Aunt Mary Ann, turned 96 in December the 7th. And she's still here. Now, she lives in Florida, but I talked to her on the phone, and she's in good health. She has nothing wrong with her, nothing major. She lives in assisted living, and she's at the top of her game. You know, she has no memory problems or anything. So through her, I still feel like I have that connection with my ma, and that has been just a great thing for me. I also found a new interest in 2023, and that is gardening. Well, landscaping maybe is more appropriate for what we were doing. But I've never been able to grow anything. I don't plant anything, nothing, no gardening whatsoever. I never had an interest. And if I even bought a potted plant, it would drop dead in like 2 days. I could never seem to have a green thumb. Well, Dave and I started this project in the late summer, early fall, of doing some landscaping and getting some plants. And then when my brother-in-law got sick, we had to kind of drop it. But we're going to pick it back up in the early spring, and I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I'm learning a little bit, not much, but hopefully I'll have some plants and a pretty yard to show you in the spring. And one more thing I want to mention that has been a good thing for 2023 is kind of double-sided. What I mean by that is it could be viewed as a bad thing, a negative thing, another traumatic thing, or it could be viewed as something positive and something to be grateful for, which is how we are choosing to look at it. And that is Dave. I know my regular viewers know that Dave has prostate cancer, and he's had it for, since 2015. So he's gone 8 years and has done very well. Now, granted, he had the prostate removed and many other male parts and things, inside, and he's had radiation and chemo, 3 or 4 different surgeries, things like that. I mean, it was rough, but he responded well to treatment. And the chemo that he has been on, it's a chemo pill, for the last 3.5 years, really worked well for him. He didn't have any bad side effects. They said it might last for 2 months, and it might not last a month, or it could last for a year. It just depends. When it stops working, it stops working. Well, unfortunately, he found out in early November that it wasn't working anymore. His numbers were going up, and they knew that the cancer had spread and metastasized to somewhere in his body. Most likely the bone, because that's where prostate cancer goes. So they set him up for a PET scan, and to make a long story short, the cancer did metastasize to his bones, but they felt like it would be the spine, most likely, and that can be really bad. Or it could have been in several bones, in his knee, and his right shoulder, and the left shoulder, whatever, even in the skull. Well, it's in his right hip and pelvic bone area. But he had no clue. He didn't feel bad or have pain or anything. They found it on the scan because they suspected that it had metastasized to the bones. So that's maybe not so good news. I mean, you're hoping and praying for a miracle that it wouldn't be anywhere in his body. Unfortunately, it was. But we are not looking at that as a negative. We are looking on the positive side, and that is it did not go to his spine. It's not in several areas in his bones. It's in one area, the right hip and pelvic bone, and it's small. And he will be starting a new medication, a new type of chemo treatment, the beginning of January. Again, we don't know if it'll work or it won't work, but based on his past history and his success record, we believe it will work. And they will follow up like in 10 days after he starts it to see if his numbers are coming down at all, and they'll do additional PET scans and so on and so forth. So we consider that good news because it could have been so much worse. That is something to be so very grateful for. So as you can see, no matter what kind of year you have, you might say, oh my gosh, I'll be so glad when 2023 is over because of different circumstances and situations that happened in your life. I know I have felt that way. I thought, oh my goodness, when is 2023 going to end? This has been the worst year I could imagine. And yes, it was in many ways, until I took that moment and said, wait a minute here. You have so much to be grateful for. You've had so many positive things. Spending so much time with my family this year, all the love and support. It just went on and on. So when I counted those blessings, that list is so much longer than the list of the 4 traumatic things to me. My ma, my sister, my broken wrist, and my brother-in-law. You know, it's all in how we choose to look at things. We can't prevent these things from happening. And yes, maybe they all happened in the same year, but I don't even look at years anymore. In other words, every day is just a new day. I don't look at January 1. Oh, good, it's a new year. It's just a new day, like every other day. And we never know what's going to happen from day to day, especially as we age. So that's my looking back on 2023, the negative and the positive, and looking forward to 2024. I'm really not looking forward to think, oh, what's going to happen in 2024? Like, will it be a good year, or could something else go wrong? I mean, what else could happen? I don't look at it that way. I look forward in the way that I have hope. I have God's promises. I know I will have continued blessings each and every day, small ones and big ones. I will have miracles, both small and big, and I will get through whatever comes my way. There's no point in planning for the new year, what I want to do in the new year. It's okay to have goals and desires of things you'd like to do, but don't set your life around it. Look at each day as a new day. Each day that you wake up is just another day. Another day of life, another day of positivity, another day to do something that maybe you haven't done before, another day to feel joy and peace and contentment. We can get through so many situations, and it could always be worse. So when you look to 2024, again, take it a day at a time. Enjoy each and every day, each and every precious moment. Each day that we wake up and go through the day without something happening is a wonderful day. And if something does happen, that doesn't take away our joy, our hope, our peace, and the promises we all have from God. It just doesn't change. I can tell you that from experience, from the year I had in 2023. I'm so grateful that I was able to sit back and look at all the wonderful things that happened in 2023 and accept the bad with the good. As long as you have love in your life, you have everything you need. So I hope this encourages you. If you had a rough year in 23, or if 24 turns out to be a rough year for you, don't forget to look at the positive, to be encouraged, to know that good things will still come your way. Well, now, on that note, I'm going to end this video and leave you with an inside beauty tip. My inside beauty tip today comes from Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. This is a message of hope, of endurance, a promise that no matter what challenges we face, we have what we need to get through it. I know this past year, there were so many days when I would think, how much more can happen? How much more can I take? How much longer can I endure this? Where am I going to get my strength from and get through these situations? I knew where I would get my strength from, and it was from God. I thought many times that I was just going to faint or pass out or fall over, like I couldn't take another step. But I did, and I never fainted or fell over. I was able to get through each situation because God carried me through. He gave me what I needed to get through, and He will do the same for you, no matter what you have to face. Never feel hopeless. Don't be discouraged. Keep relying on God and trusting in Him that you will get through whatever you're dealing with. On days that you feel down, look at your blessings. Look at the good things going on in your life. Don't let a negative situation bring you all the way down. Don't rely on yourself to make it through whatever comes your way. We have a Heavenly Father that loves us more than we could ever imagine, and He is always with us. That's what got me through this past year, and I know it will get me through whatever years I have left on this earth, no matter what I have to face. When you have that to hold on to, it changes your whole outlook, and you'll never lose your joy, no matter how sad the situation may be. The joy will remain in your heart. I pray that for each and every one of you, and I wish you the very best on your new day, on each new day of 2024. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate it. And until we meet again, this is the old girl signing out. See ya.